plants need water, they start wilting a bit, then, obviously you don't wait. My name is Kaldy, and I run my own business as a content strategist. I was born in Hungary. I lived there until I was almost 21. I got married over there to a man who was born here in Australia. We moved over here back in 1995. We grew our own food in our backyard. Like the garden was something that we did together. There's this theme of community and family. So we moved here with Attila's parents. There were 3 of us by then, because Michelle was born in 1995, shortly after we moved here. And then Anakin came along in 2001, child number 2. PCOS wasn't even a thing in my vocabulary until about 2016. I was a pick packer. It was an easy job to get, and that's exactly what I needed. I think that was when I felt best physically. It started to go back. It started to deteriorate, and first I just put it down to tiredness. It was challenging enough for me to go and see a doctor. I felt that someone for that age should be a lot more energetic. Maybe I was deficient in something, or there was something that I wasn't doing right with my life or with my health. If I could just tweak a few things, that I would get back to normal. My normal. I'm usually pretty healthy, or I was. I went to this doctor, who was our family doctor. His take on things was that it was just motherhood and work and life in general, that I was stressed and I was tired and I needed to reduce my stress. I tried for years, because his words kept ringing in my ears that there was nothing wrong with me. My health didn't get any better. So I just kept going like a good little soldier, like us women are told to do, just get on with it. So that's exactly what I did. I don't know what had gotten into me, but one day I decided that it was enough, because I was getting progressively worse, the fatigue, the other physical symptoms, and by then I started to develop things like muscle weakness and horrible and irregular periods. I went back to the doctor and I told him the answer that I got from the same doctor that I saw with this initially was that, well, you're in your 30s now, so your hormones are changing. You just have to get used to it. This is life. So I accepted it. If I had pursued this more then I wouldn't have had to go through another 5 years of believing that it was all in my head. Just go into any PCOS support group on Facebook. Those communities are huge. Tens of thousands of women that will tell the same story. I didn't have access to anything other than the advice from my doctor. The symptoms, how things are manifesting in your body, but you don't know what is causing them. Your doctor that you've been seeing for 10 years, they tell you that it's in your head, or it's just, a part of life and you have to get used to it. You accept it. And I have a pretty good understanding of PCOS now, in 2018. More than a decade later, I convinced myself that it was all in my head. Including some specialists, I've seen 9 different doctors in 8 years. I was sharing my frustrations with a friend, and that friend just looked at me and she went, "I think you have PCOS." Well, she told me a couple of things about it, and she goes, this sounds like you. And I'm like, yes, it does. And I had this glimmer of hope, that I can put a name to it. Because if I can call it something, if it has a name, then it's real. It's not just something that I'm making up. So I went to the doctor that I was seeing at the time, and I said to him, all these things that I've been telling you about, I think it might be PCOS. Do you think it's possible that that's what I have? And he looked at me and he said, "You don't have PCOS." I was under the impression that my hormone levels have been checked because I asked prior to this and all the levels came back okay. To check both my testosterone and my testosterone levels and my ovaries for cysts, I would have to convince my doctor. He just determined, but just by looking at me, that I didn't have PCOS. Because I wanted to arm myself with the knowledge and asking the right questions, not just be steamrolled by a doctor and be told that it's in my head again. So I did research a lot. So that empowered me. And with that empowerment, I walked out. I found myself a female doctor. So I started telling her about my journey, and she was actually interested in giving me my health back, and I couldn't believe it. She asked me to write a list of all my health challenges and come back and see her, and I went back the next week. She scanned them into her computer. She said, "Leave these with me." And I saw her again the week after. When I walked into her office, she already had the referrals printed out to all the tests that I needed to get done, all the ultrasounds that I needed to get done. And she said, "We will do these one by one so we can eliminate all the things that aren't the issue." I took the stack of papers from her and I just walked out of her office like I think the happiest I've been in years, because finally someone gave a shit. There was that glimmer of hope that someone's going to get to the bottom of this. Throughout my research, I also came across some information that pointed towards PCOS being genetic. And that brings up the question, if it's genetic, then it is in my daughter's makeup. You want to pass on the best parts of yourself to your kids. But when it comes to your genes, you have no say. What I can say is empower yourself with information. And don't stop until you find someone who is willing to find out how they can make you better. And if someone tells you that it's in your head, walk away, find yourself someone else who will listen and is actually interested in making you better. If a doctor tells you that this is all in your head, don't accept it. If you feel it in your body, don't give up.